All right. I have not been this excited actually for a live AMA in a long time. I have with me Natan Levy, Israeli UFC fighter. Now, before I I'll let him introduce himself a little bit more formally and professionally, but I kind of want to talk about how this came about. I reached out to Natan after a white supremacist and anti-Semitic troll in America kind of reached out to challenge him to a fight, and surprisingly, Natan's like, "Yo, you want to go? Let's go." And to surprise, he showed up. And I found this to be such a fascinating story. That's when I first reached out to him, and we've been on and off in conversation, privately messaging online, on X, and on WhatsApp, and finally tried to make this work. Tragically, because of the brutal attack by Palestinians on Jewish civilians and citizens in Israel, including rape, murder, beheading, burning people alive, cutting open pregnant women's stomachs and beheading the baby while the woman was alive, and cutting up people's eyeballs in front of their family, executing the parents in front of the kids, and vice versa. And over 240 kidnaps and over 1,400 people were murdered by Palestinians. That we kind of reconnected, and we need to talk about fighting anti-Semitism. Now, I've been fighting anti-Semitism on college campus. I've been fighting anti-Semitism online. But the true fighter here fighting anti-Semitism is Natan. So Natan, I just want to say I'm totally honored and happy that you came here to join me today. Maybe if you want to introduce yourself a little bit, even though I think people know who you are, if anyone needs an introduction, it's probably more me. So please, why don't you tell us kind of like a little bit about your career, your background, you're growing up in Israel, and maybe you can introduce yourself to my audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for having me. My name is Natan Levy. I'm a professional MMA fighter fighting for the UFC. I currently live in Las Vegas, but I was born in Paris. And at the age of 2 months, I moved to Israel with my family. And pretty much was raised there, spent my whole life there. I only moved to the US at 26 to pursue my professional career. And growing up, training, I was doing karate since I was 15, trained in Japan, trained all over the world to be the best I could be. And now we're here in the UFC, and from fighting guys in the ring, it kind of turned into fighting, Nick Fuentes supporters and fighting online and just trying to do what I can do in the fight against anti-Semitism, try to do my part.
Awesome, terrific. So this cool. You were born in France. When did you move? Let's do some background. When did you make Aliyah or immigrate to Israel?
When I was 2 months old.
Okay, got it. So you're practically born in Israel, more or less.
Pretty much. Purposes. Almost.
And so, almost. So, how does one become a UFC fighter? Tell me about that journey. I did Taekwondo when I was a kid, right? And so other people do, and I have a lot of friends who do jiu-jitsu, whatever. And so, how does one actually, as opposed to going someone who spars, someone who's a black belt, someone who does a certain kind of karate or fighting, and then getting the US professionally? What happened in your story?
So first, you need a couple of screws loose.
Okay.
But honestly, for me, it was always about the martial arts and the training, and less about the fighting. I would fight often when I was a kid, but when I started training seriously, I started fighting less and less, because you actually, it calms you down and gets you more focused. And so for me, it was more about the training, more about the challenge. And at some point, after doing karate for years, it was still challenging, but just not enough. And I was watching UFC on TV, and it was something out of this world. At 4 or 5 a.m., I would wake up in Israel to watch the fights. And one day I just decided I'm going to go for it and try to do it. And, it takes a lot of training, many disciplines, many martial arts. If you want to become a boxer, you got to do boxing. If you want to become a jiu-jitsu grappler, then you got to do that. But when you want to be an MMA fighter, you got to do everything at a sufficient level just to get started. And then, of course, you got to get high level at everything. So it's a lot of work. But, I flew into Las Vegas when I was 22. All I knew was karate. I had nothing from the other disciplines. and just started working my way up, started training, met the right coach. His name is Jimmy Gifford. He took me under his wing, and we've been together at it ever since. Started fighting amateur, then pro, then got a short notice to fight for a UFC contract on 2 days' notice. Took that, choked my opponent out, and got the contract. And now I've been signed to the UFC.
I love it. You choked someone out and get the contract.
Yeah.
That's terrific. Okay, so my next question for you is, okay, so you're in UFC, and what age was this, by the way?
One more time, sorry.
What age? When did you join the UFC?
When I was 29.
Okay, how old are you now?
32.
Is that considered late, joining 29?
Yeah, so everything in my life I did late. I started training late. You know, people start training at 5-year-old if you want to, you know, be good and get somewhere. I started at 15. Then I was doing only karate for a long time, and I would watch the UFC and think, you know, this is so cool, but it's not what I'm doing. I'm doing something completely different. When I decided to fly to Vegas for the first time, I was 22. It was the first time I had like a grappling exchange. This is super late. Nobody starts MMA at 22. Then I started competing at 24 amateur. People start competing amateur at 12, not 24, right? But everything was a little, I don't want to say rush, because I was very patient, and with my coach guidance, we did everything right at the right timing. But of course, there was a question of time, and I couldn't do 10 years of amateur fights, right? Like, this is what you would like for a kid to grow up to become a world champion. You would have him do maybe 100 amateur fights. I did 4 in 1 year, and it was on to the next, going pro. 26, first pro fight. 29, get into the UFC. So everything I did was late, but that's okay. I guess I'm a late bloomer. And at the end, we made it, and there's still much more to conquer.
Awesome, terrific. And then, so a big component of being in the UFC, especially if you're not American, is many people go where you are to Vegas to train, right? Was that hard to know that you would have to leave your hometown to pursue your career? I know a lot of obviously professional athletes do this. This isn't just unique to UFC. So maybe you can tell me a little bit about kind of what that transition is like, and what it's like to be there, and what it's like to represent Israel, not just as a fighter, but also while being in Vegas.
It was hard to leave home, but you know, as when I was a karate guy, when I was a karate practitioner, I wanted to be the best and learn from the best. So I flew to Japan when I was 16 years old to train. And when I knew I wanted to do MMA, and I've made up my mind, and I knew I wanted to be a champion, I knew I needed to train with the best to be the best. So I knew I had to fly to Las Vegas. The harder part is the financial part, and not having a visa, you know, many like logistics, finance, all this stuff is very difficult. Here in America, if you want to be a pro fighter, all you got to do is cross the road and enter the gym. But from Israel, at the time, there were no MMA gyms or barely any MMA fighters. And it didn't make sense at the time to try and make a career for myself from within Israel. Nowadays, it's still not there, but it's much closer. And, you know, the generation of pioneers that back then were just kind of at the end of their career, now they're coaching. So people have an opportunity to learn from them. There's many more fighters. People have more people to train with, more fighters to train with. So it's getting there. For me, I had to go back and forth. I had to stay on my French passport for 3 months, go back to Israel, work for 6 months, fly back and forth like this for 4 years before I got an actual visa that lets me stay in America for, you know, for longer than 6 months and years.
Awesome. Do you think after you retire, should we expect to see the Natan Levy gym here in Israel, and to see a new generation of fighters that we'd be able to develop, so it wouldn't be just basically you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's my dream. That's my goal. right now I'm focusing on me, on fighting. But of course, this day is going to come, and I want to build the next generation of fighters. I want it to be not impossible because I wasn't I didn't have money to fly. I needed to do everything by myself. But I'm still privileged. Some people couldn't even do that, right? I grew up with the right coaches that put in my mind that I can achieve anything. My parents believed in me. They didn't like what I'm doing, but they believe in me enough. My surrounding, again, there were many, many doubters, but at the end of the day, my surrounding made it so it's possible for me to get here. And there are kids that I'm sure that cannot get here. And I would like them to have the opportunity to cross the road and put their hard work and effort into the craft and become champions without many things that I had to go through.
Is it lonely to be a trailblazer in a sense that you're leading the way through? No one did it before you, at least from Israel. It's lonely, right? It reminds me a bit as like an entrepreneur in a sense. It's very lonely. You're kind of creating your own path, but in a sense, I get to speak to other entrepreneurs doing their own thing. I mean, do you find it to be lonely? Not just the fact that you're trailblazing, you're doing it, 10 time zones behind Israel, right? Your Pacific time, Vegas is. What are the challenges about being a trailblazer, particularly in your industry?
Yeah, lonely is it kind of defines it, but it's not the regular lonely. It's not the lonely of nobody. I have no one to talk to. I got somebody to talk to, but nobody understands. Nobody knows what I'm
no one
doing.
understands, right?
Nobody knows what I'm trying to do. I would have many fight cancellations before even my first amateur fight or during my pro career. And of course, with all good intentions, but mom would tell me, if this fight doesn't work out, just come back home, or many things like that. Many people saying a lot of things. Again, mostly with good intentions. Some people will tell you can't do something because they don't think they can do it. So they think you're not different.
Yeah, I get that all the time, right? It's a funny thing how that works. And often it's people that are closest to you.
Yeah, true. But me, for example, people that I try to look up for advice, people that were a little bit more pioneers of the sport in Israel, MMA fighters that kind of were the first, and try to ask some people, hey, I'm flying to Vegas next month. Do you have any tips? Oh, man, you don't need to go. You shouldn't go. You haven't done MMA. You should stay in Israel, train until you get your brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and only then you should fly. I haven't gotten my brown belt to this day. I should have waited at home until now, at least, if I would have to listen. So, people want you to wait. Even me, myself, I would tell myself, there's a good friend of mine, Daniel, his name is. We would train karate together and he would kick my ass. And I would tell myself, man, but I still can't beat Daniel. What am I going to do in Vegas? Right? I believed I can beat champions, but Daniel keeps kicking my ass. So how am I going to beat those champions, right? Am I out of touch with reality? But no, the truth is I flew to Vegas, trained with better people, learned from other martial arts, and then I got good enough, right? So if you stay in your little pond, just waiting for something to happen to leave it, it's never going to happen, or it's not going to happen under the right. You can always find an excuse not to do it. It's very easy.
Right.
And people surely can find an excuse for you to not do it. But the truth is, you just go out there and do it, and you don't need a road. You just go and you make your own road. And now, even though I'm not coaching, I have friends, younger guys, younger fighters who come to Vegas, train around the year. I help coach them. I'm not their coach or anything like that, but I help, give them direction, guidance, whatever I can, help in any way I can. And these guys are already walking through that path and having a lot of success.
Awesome. Okay, so let's pivot to kind of the main point of the conversation. But if anyone has any questions, you can add it below. The best place to ask is on LinkedIn. I already see some questions, some comments. I'll include them into I'll work them into the conversation. So go ahead and you can bring it over to LinkedIn or on X on my profile, YoLT Israel. Those will be the best places, and you'll see it and just reply on Twitter or on LinkedIn. You can ask it in the event itself. Okay, so my next question for you is about fighting anti-Semitism. At what point when you were fighting would you say have you really started to experience anti-Semitism and Jew hatred targeted directly at you because you're Jewish?
So when I got here 10 years ago is when I got to Vegas. Obviously, I was not well known at all. I was just some guy training, traveling. But it was really very rare to receive hate. And even if people, they would ask you, oh, where are you from? Israel. Oh, wow, I love Israel. Only good things, really. It was like surprising how positive the comments were all the time about it. And with the time, it slowly started to get worse and worse. Again, maybe it was always like that, and I just gained a little bit more fame. But the messages online, even the reactions of people face to face, nobody ever said anything too bad to my face. But just you can tell the reactions are more mixed. And I think it really got out of hand last year when Kanye started making all his remarks and show his Jew hatred. And when I called him out for that after my UFC win in December 2022, then it started to really get out of hand. The hate mail messages, and even in 2021 during the small operation that there were the war, a lot of hate, and just you can see it's oozing from these people. Like they have so much hate in them, and the things they write, it's disgusting. And luckily I'm strong enough to to take it and not really take it to heart. But some people, it's really scary for them, and it's really it hurts not their feelings but their well-being. And when you get a lot of hate, you do feel it a little bit in the stomach, in the chest. It's not fun to receive so much hate, but some people, it really hurts their mental health.
Yeah, I find that I see like a couple things you mentioned. Israel defending itself, you winning. I find the common thread is that people hate a strong Jew. People don't like a Jew when he or she stands up for herself, or the Jewish people do. People love dead Jews. People like when Jews are miskanim, oh, poor Jews, and they can pretend to be their saviors. But if a Jew can stand on their 2 feet, or the Jewish nation can stand on their 2 feet, all right, or in any way, I feel for some reason that is the biggest threat to people. People love the weak Jew. Would you say, has that been, so that's kind of my outlook and philosophy from my experience of fighting Jew hatred, so starting from college campus or even actually public high school in Philly. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that it's a common thread that your experience and other people that have?
Look, I think they hate maybe the Jews all the same. It burns them a little bit extra to see one that's strong and proud. But the apologetic Jews, which are to me, disgusting.
They're not Jewish, really, but they're like 2 generations of intermarriage. They're not, and they're fake. I know them personally very well.
Yeah, either way, it's you're just gonna, they like you until they get rid of us, and you're gonna die last. So, good for you, licking the boot. So you get it. You're the last to get it, but it's not the way it works. And
it's pretty tragic the way people see it. Okay, so let's go. Let's talk about this anti-Semitic troll from online, which really made me reach out to you. And I found this is a terrific story. maybe you can kind of, instead of me, why would I talk about it when you can? Can you kind of walk us through what exactly happened?
Yeah. So one day on X, Twitter, it's a pretty bad platform, I gotta say, and a lot of hate on it. Maybe it is the best place to fight hate. I don't know. I will get
But you
into
got
if we
it. I
can
think
make a
like you
difference
though,
maybe
so
a
you
little bit
walk
later.
towards the fire. You see there's a problem.
Yeah.
I'm going to go walk towards it and I'm going to fight it. So if you're looking to fight hate, going into the deep hells of Twitter is a great place to go.
True, but also I don't expect to walk into Gaza and say, you guys gotta love Israel and it's gonna change anybody's
Oh,
mind, right?
no.
You gotta pick your battles. But so this guy was posting a picture of him flexing his really slim tricep, writing, "This is what a white man, the model of physique, some bullshit. This is what a white man should look like, superiority." I don't even know what he was yapping about. And somebody tagged me. I said, that he's built like a chopstick, and he's no
You
threat.
wrote that. You wrote he's built like a chopstick.
Yeah. People were like, "Oh, this guy is threatening." He was basically saying that this is what a white male should look like. White male are superior and stronger than anybody. So I just wrote, he's not a threat. He's built like a chopstick. Like, don't worry, guys that are tagging me. And then somebody else jumps on the chat and says, "I'm willing to come fight you. I'm willing to come spar you at your gym to defend Nick Fuentes and the white man's honor." Okay, everything is on the YouTube video in my channel if everybody wants to watch the whole thing. I'm kind of paraphrasing.
Yeah.
And I said, "Sure, I get this all the time. Bro, I'm going to come to your gym and F you up. Sure, come." And to my surprise, this guy actually shows up, which was funny.
Did you get, when you first saw him, when he showed up, how did he say, "Hey, I'm that guy from Twitter"? Like, what is the first interaction? Did someone else say, was it a security? How does, tell me about that first, when you found out he came to the,
So,
where was he located? He was from Cali.
Yeah, from California, I believe. So in our back and forth on the Twitter thread, it was, "Yeah, I'm going to come F you up." I'm like, "Sure, come, bro. I'll pay for you. I'll Venmo you the gas money." "Okay, I'll be there Saturday. Get ready." Okay, tough guy. I brought a friend, with my camera just in case he actually shows up. Because
so did you think he was going to show up? It was that serious?
I'll tell you why I thought he was going to show up. I believed he could show up because he was very persistent. It wasn't like a one-time threat and that's it. Then it was in the DMs. "Okay, I'm coming Saturday. You're going to be there, right?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm going to be there." He's like, "Okay." Slowly it becomes, "Okay, so I'll see you Saturday." And it's all respect, bro. I'm like, "All respect? Aren't you like a Nazi?" Oh, I said, "You know what? Don't scare him away." I'm like, "Cool, man. Thank you, bro. See you Saturday. We'll spar."
So his tone changed after he decided internally he was going to show up, and his tone changed to you in the DMs.
His tone started changing, and it was like it went from very aggressive to at the end like, "Hey, we're gonna spar. I'm gonna fuck you up, but it's respect. Like respect, bro." Then when I meet him, it's like, "Hey, Natan, very nice to meet you. I'm Ben. It was very nice to meet you." I'm like, "Hey, Ben, what's up, man? Did you sign a waiver?" Yeah, just signed the waiver." Okay. Then we walk around a little bit. I ask him a few questions. Who is Nick Fuentes? Why did he want to defend his honor? I kind of Googled him and I saw he was a real piece of work. And, he started defending him. But at the same time, it is, for normal human beings, it's hard to have to run into conflict, right? And you always rather just, again, most people, he didn't claim himself, "Oh yeah, I'm a white supremacist. I hate Jews." It's like, "No, I don't hate anybody. I'm just, I think America should come first. That's why I support America first. They like to put these names on things, right? Oh, America first. It sounds good. Why not? We're in America. America is first. But it's not that. It's much worse, than what it sounds. It sounds great,
right.
but it's actually not.
Some people, I would most not, but some people, when they say America first, it's a cover for the fact that the Jews are being put first.
Yeah.
At the expense of America.
Yeah, exactly. And you can always do that. A bill that you want to pass. Oh, it's called the Support of Life and Love bill. What's in the bill? Kill people, right? It doesn't need to the name to actually match the purpose. So it's like, oh, I'm just about America first. I don't hate anybody.
Yeah. It's like human rights organizations.
And Nick Fuentes, Heil Nick Fuentes. So at the end, everybody can see in the video, I kind of made him eat his own words, and then we got into sparring. I really wanted to kick his ass, but he was like halfway crying the whole time and being super apologetic, and I kind of had a little bit of pity on him. So I just hit him enough to teach him a lesson. It's kind of fun to watch, but obviously I'm a pro fighter and there's some liability. I can't just go and destroy people. Right. But he was trained. He said he's a black belt in karate and taekwondo, so he was trained. He's not some guy off the streets who doesn't know anything. I could tell he's got a little bit of movement, not anything that looks good, but he's done some martial arts. He could be a black belt a while back. And he had 50, 60 pounds on me. But we still showed him what's up. After round 1, I thought, okay, warm-up is over, but he wanted to quit and not get in for round 2.
And that was it. How much did this, now this is me, the marketer, talking, how much did this blow up your profile? How much did this increase your profile?
It blew up, for sure. It had 250,000 views. And at some point, I don't know, YouTube pretty much cut the views. It was flying, hit to 50,000. Then I got a notification that for some reason they're not going to monetize it.
Yeah, and from there, God forbid, show a strong Jew. They have no problem getting, a white supremacist gets their ass kicked. YouTube has no problem with it. But if it's a strong Jew, they'll take the white supremacist and the Nazi over the strong Jew. It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Nothing's changed. The New York Times during the Holocaust, same thing. They did atrocities.
And I think I hit 2, 3, 5,000 views since. So something happened. And but it's okay, I hope some people got inspired from it to learn martial art and stand up for themselves. And going back into what we were talking about earlier about, picking your battles and screaming in Gaza or on X, which could be the same thing. I often think, can you even persuade people who are Jew haters to not hate Jews? I'm not sure, I doubt it. I think they've made up their minds. They don't care about the facts. I don't like advocating for Jews in a way that's yeah, but Jews have money because, well, you think Jews are powerful because I don't want to even engage in that. Right? Of course, there's reasons that there's many successful Jews, which are good things. It's a good thing. I don't want to start explaining, oh, no, he's only rich because this. Oh, no, he only got to be CEO of that company because, no, he did it and good for him. And if you got a problem with that, go F yourself. And that's it. So I think the most work I feel like I need to be doing is not explaining to people why Jews are okay or why racism is bad. Hey guys, racism is bad. No shit. I think my calling for me is more about just giving Jews the permission, to be strong, to be proud, and understanding that being apologetic about being Jewish is not going to get you anywhere. being the friend, the ally in the university is not going to get you anywhere. I'm not saying necessarily, oh, you got to be that guy that goes to the Palestine protest wearing a flag. This is dangerous, right? They are violent. I'm not saying you should do that. You don't need to have the big Star of David here all the time and be a target for a surprise attack by a coward. You can do it. That's your call. But at the Jewish star, have it big on the inside. Be proud on the inside. Be strong on the inside. After that, what you want to show to the world, that's great. But really, you should be proud of who you are and what you are, and everything else will, fall into place. If all the Jews were proud, not apologetic, strong, training martial arts, people want to kill you. You should train martial arts. People want to kill you. You should carry a firearm. Then we would have a much better world for our community.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know a lot of people, including my brother, just got armed. And people I thought would never get armed, getting armed now in America, and hopefully we'll have that here in Israel too. So the UFC is a lot of notable absolute Jew haters, Nazi sympathizers. And I'm not talking about the white supremacists that you fought. I'm talking about a lot of Islamists and the Dagestani fighters. Can you maybe tell people who are these people? What is it? What they're after? And maybe you can unpack it. And why does UFC permit such open bigotry? So
I can't really tell you why the UFC permits it. I think it's about the freedom of speech, right? In America, I think it's a double-edged sword. Of course, it's good because...
Yeah, wait, but freedom of speech is from the government, right? So,
yeah.
Which is terrific, and I support it. But calling such literally, actually genocidal comments from their... Why wouldn't they kick out or a warning? We're just saying, yeah, you can talk shit, but we don't talk genocide here.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the UFC is very, and it's always been letting their fighters say whatever they want. And of course, there should be a limit, but I don't think they've applied it here. I don't think they know what the limit is.
Is there anything you couldn't say?
You can't say anything that's considered homophobic. My coach, one of my coaches, and can I curse on here?
Yeah, please. This is worse than X. For that.
My coach said, Sean Strickland, my friend, was fighting for the title, and he's fighting a great world champion. And my coach told him between rounds, believe in yourself, you can beat that cocksucker. And the internet went crazy.
Over that.
It was the heat of the moment.
It's not even that they went crazy over that. It's what they don't go crazy over that they went crazy over that.
Yeah.
It's a double standard.
You can say whatever you want about the remark. He's not happy. He said it with a mic on him and stuff like that. He doesn't talk like that in the day-to-day. But it happened. It slipped out. He truly doesn't hate anybody. But, figure of speech. That's ingrained in us for many years before it became, PC. This is a big issue. The guy that says, that's calling for genocide or, saying like Hamza Chimaev, saying he will beat any Israeli, give him an Israeli to eat, that's okay. He talks in English, says something beautiful. Oh, every child, Jewish, Christian, should all live. Beautiful. Then he switches to his own language and starts saying he wants a rifle and to go to Palestine and fight the Jews. That nobody says anything about that.
Typical terrorists.
They
speak out of both sides of the mouth.
Coward,
and other people know that. You'll show them. They're like, I heard what I want to hear. I can put my head back in the sand. And that's it. And it's this game of cowardice from the West.
Now, at the moment, if you don't speak his language, you don't know what he said. In English, he said something, let's say, beautiful. Maybe he said the same thing in his own language. But when it's already been translated, it's been running online, what he said, and people still choose to quote, the English part and put his photo like he's some angel. This guy is no angel.
Amazing what they do.
And like he said himself, he's not born to fight, in underwear in a cage. He's born to fight in on the battlefield. Well, okay, go fight on the battlefield. Go show everybody that you're a man. You said it, right?
Right. Well, I mean, these people are cowards, like you said, right? They're all taught go to the battlefield and they cry with their tail between their legs and run off. It would be great fun to the battlefield. So what do you do? How do you play a part in this? Do you think you'll ever end up fighting them, or are you in a different class? Or how exactly does that work? And then I would like for you to speak to the part that have you or anyone else communicated this to the UFC? And I'm assuming that they've seen any other language, and what has there been any response? Would you expect anything? Is it worth discussing this? At least I think publicly, I think it should be. I'm just curious about what are your thoughts there about kind of surfacing these genocidal comments from UFC fighters. And like it hurts their brand, right? I would think. Or not. Actually, maybe that's what they want.
Not enough, probably. And yeah, I know they're aware of it. Somebody approached me and told me they're aware of it and they're aware of what he said. And that's pretty much where it ended. But
you didn't follow up?
They weren't
you have been like, okay, now what?
Yeah, of course, that's my feeling. No, they said they're not happy about it. I don't think they're going to do anything about it. Maybe they will, probably not, especially not now. It's been a month or so, or 3 weeks. I don't think they're going to do anything about it. For me, my response, how can I fight this? Be better than them. Be stronger, win fights, carry a stronger message, a more right message. And yeah, I'm not going to go cry to the teacher. The teacher should know what to do. They should know how to run their business. If they don't, it's their problem. I can't control the UFC. I just want to get fights and fight and show people, what I can do. And I got to tell you, I've got some, a lot of hate messages, but I also got a lot of love from my, Jewish brothers and sisters, even people who are not Jewish or Israeli that support us and love us and like seeing me fighting. And better than winning any fight, better than winning any medal, any belt, any trophy, it's when a Jewish kid writes me or Jewish girl and tell me, hey, thanks to you, I signed up to martial arts. I just won a tournament. Thanks to you, I'm starting training. I'm starting to lift weights. Whatever. This really, brings me closer to tears if somebody, beats their bully or gets more strong than their bully because of me. That's better than any championship.
I hope you'll get also maybe after this letters because of you I got armed. That would be great. So
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But kids can wait with the
they won't be
firearms.
Able to, 18.
Parents, please, it's time and get trained. Same thing like
the world hates the strong. The world loves a weak Jew, which is why they love Yad Vashem, but they don't want to go to the Har Bayit or the Israel Museum or go to Israel. They love dead Jews. It makes them feel good about themselves. So on the topic, do you ever consider doing some kind of I think because you're a trailblazer, you have a unique opportunity here to this entrepreneurial thinking that maybe start kind of like a camp to help a Jews fight or kind of like a 1 week or hey, training with Natan Levy in Vegas. I have some friends that personally asked me, can you ask if I can train with them? Is there something kind of like a fun thing I think would be, it's good for your marketing, it's good to get the brand down, all that, to maybe do a 1 week kind of training camp in a sense?
So right now I'm teaching once a week here in Vegas. I have a class for the Israeli community. And there's two organizations that I'd like to recommend to anybody who wants to get. So any gym or most gyms should do the job and get you stronger and fitter and just more confident, which is the best thing. Again, you can't beat everybody with your hands and your legs kicking and punching. but get stronger, get more confident. This is already like a huge step in the right direction. There's Stand Strong, and there is Shields of David. Those are two organizations that teach
Stand
martial arts.
Strong and Shields of David.
Yep. Two organizations, they stand, I think our values really align. They teach Jewish kids martial arts, get them stronger, more confident, even adults, even parents. So they're doing a good work, and I might be helping them and joining into doing seminars and teaching. Obviously, I'm still fighting, so I can't teach full time. Like, if I had two of me, I would love to do that and just teach all the time and train people. But right now, I got to do my training. But with the time I have left, of course, I want to help others.
Terrific. When do UFC fighters retire, or what age about usually?
Kind of late, actually, like 35, 37, some people even 40, because unlike sprints or other athletic, careers, here experience and knowledge is a huge factor. The more years you're training, the more moves you know, the more defense, the more tricks you develop. So sometimes a veteran fighter who has a lot of experience can beat a younger, stronger, faster fighter. Stay competitive.
That's fascinating. So I'm going to call you out on this. I'm going to ask you directly. I did earlier. So when you retire at 37, 38, 40, will you be opening a gym here in Israel?
I believe so. I want to. It is something I'm thinking about. Obviously, it would be way easier to open a gym in America.
Yeah,
but then I don't get. Yeah, plenty of gyms. Yeah, I need to find the right place, of course. I can't commit financial suicide.
Right.
But in Israel, opening a gym is that many times, unfortunately. That's why that is also something that's hurting the training quality. Me as a young guy training, we would switch gyms from gym to a smaller gym to training on the grass in the park. Like, you cannot train under these circumstances properly for a fight, right? I was just training for myself, but for a fight, this is not suitable. My goal absolutely is to open a gym in Israel, and hopefully I make enough here from fighting that I can do that with ease of mind. Open my gym in Israel, build a family in Israel. At the end of the day, there's many hardships in Israel. It's not the perfect life, but it is our home. It's our only home in the world. And this is where I see myself raising children.
No, man, and you should have many of them. I know you have to go kind of soon, but I'd like to talk more. So when you're ready for that, I'm here to help. I'll get you sponsors. There's no reason why you have to put everything out. I have the network for it. We'll definitely come. We'll do a nice ribbon cutting ceremony, and we'll totally help them. I don't think it should be a problem. I think if you continue developing your marketing and your reach and your audience in Israel and abroad as you continue to develop it, and as more people troll you and it elevates your status, the more success you'll have, at least with name recognition, and we can cash that in with sponsorship and other things to build a gym in Israel. So that would be really cool. And anything I can do to help there, that would be terrific.
Thank you.
My next question is, where does someone get a jiu-jitsu shirt?
LevyMMA.com.
All right, just wanted to make sure you got a good plug. Terrific. So the final thing is that, so if people want to follow you, where is the best place that they can go?
I'm Natan Levy, Natan_Levy on X, on Instagram. My name, it's my official page on Facebook, and LinkedIn, same thing.
Awesome. Terrific. Natan Levy, I want to say thank you so much for joining me. I'm your host, Yoel Israel. You can follow me at Yoel T. Israel on LinkedIn, X, Facebook, Instagram, almost every channel. And thank you so much, Natan. It was a pleasure to have you on. Continue to fight for Am Yisrael, for the people of Israel, for Am Yisrael, for the Jews. And we need more role models and fighters like you. And hopefully you can continue to inspire people to fight. There's nothing an anti-Semite hates more than a strong Jew. So if you really want to give it to the bigots, if you really want to give it to the haters, learn from Natan. Be strong, stand strong, start from the inside and bring it out physically and spiritually. Thank you, Natan, for joining me in conversation. Looking forward to having you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Yoel. Thank you, guys.